Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Single Player Let's Play series here in our Harmonious Engineering 3 world. Today, we are going to go to Glacio, which is the last destination planet on our list. And we may also fiddle around. In fact, I think we may start by fiddling around with the mecha tool from Mechanism, something that I haven't made yet, something that I've been kind of waiting to make because I really, really like my pneumatic jackhammer quite a bit, and I don't really have any complaints about it. But we're kind of getting to a point where it might just be time to move on. Did I go to sleep right as the sun was rising, and that's why the rain didn't go away? That's irritating. Okay, well, whatever. Anyways, we should be... oh, right, I did just restart the server, so I guess I'll have to go do some administrative work real quick with the checking in on our different pocket dimensions. I think this was fixed by me downgrading, but at this point, I'm just paranoid with these chunk loaders. They're sometimes a little finicky, so... at this point, I found that sometimes on world reload, these just decide to stop working. In general, they're fine, but, I can't remember if the update downgrade, rather, fixed anything, or if it was a different bug that fixed. I don't recall. So anyways, after we visit these three really quickly, there we go, all good to go. Now that that is all wrapped up and ready to go, we should be good to see about getting ourselves a mecha tool, because I think that might be a good place to start, at least for now, and then we can move up from there. So let's get into that. That's going to be a pretty expensive little mechanism to make, but shouldn't be too terrible. So if we look at the mecha tool, that's this guy here. You can see it's going to require 2 resonant integral components, no problem there. We're also going to need some pink slime ingot, which is not that difficult to make, if I remember correctly. It's just 2 iron and 2 gold. And we'll need 2 of those, so we'll grab 4 iron and 4 gold. And just go ahead and start getting that mixing up right now. What else would we need? We'll need a servo times 2 and a coil times 1. And we should be getting there pretty quickly. We're also going to need a pneumatic jackhammer. That's not too bad. We've already got one of these, as you guys know. But I'm going to make another one because I like mine and I don't want to get rid of it in case I do end up falling back to it. It just makes more sense to me that way. So if we take a look, this is all going to go in our dissolution chamber here. We just need 1 more pink slime. And we need our coil. And what else? Oh, we need 1 more resonant integral component. And that should do it. That should get us our mecha tool. And I haven't actually used one of these to any great extent. So I'm curious to see how this goes. I'm open to giving this obviously quite a big shot. But there's lots that these guys can do. So they work like a pickaxe for one. They also work like a weapon, if I remember correctly, as well, based on some of the upgrades you can give them. So we're going to fiddle with this and see if I like it. I think I might if I just give it a chance. I just honestly haven't used one in so long. So let's look at the mechanism module. So there is a module you can see if we look at the supported by. I wish this would show it all the time, but that's okay. So let's see, unit is what we're looking for. And so there, of course, is the energy unit for increasing the energy buffer. I don't think we're going to need one of those quite yet. Excavation escalation is for digging speed increase. Attack amplification is an increase on mob damage. I don't think we can really beat our infinity hammer, especially if I charge it up some more. Farming unit for tilling. That one's actually pretty helpful, and shearing as well. Silk touch unit for me is a big one. I really want silk touch, but it's going to be a little bit difficult. Or refinement is fortune, so other side of things, right? Blasting, not really all that great. Teleportation would be very cool, though. And I think that's most of the modules that we'd want to look at. So the excavation escalation unit, you can see, is pretty straightforward. Attack amplification, again, I don't think I'm even going to bother with that one. Teleportation, however, would be pretty easy. So if we get a temp pad. What do you mean I don't have any glowstone? Oh, right. I don't technically, do I? That's, I'll have to teach my system how to make that, I guess. Didn't I just... I'm so confused. Why is this happening? Oh, I know why it's happening. It's because we're exporting glowstone over here, right? Duh. That was my fault. You know, I hadn't really given that any thought. Maybe we should teach our system how to uncraft it, because I believe it's going to reserve, or how to craft it rather, because I believe it will reserve the crafted versions and will prevent that from getting sucked back into the system. So let's teach that and see if that works at all. I have no idea why I didn't realize that sooner, but let's just see if this works. I think it might. You can go... I'm running out of space for vanilla E materials, so you can just live like somewhere around here. Glowstone now has a recipe, so if I ask for a temp pad, there we go. Yep, that was all that I needed to do. Sometimes when you have automation like that where it auto exports, the buffers for crafting will help prevent that from becoming a major problem. So let's see. There is a dissolution chamber with pink slime. And that's all we really need here. And that's going to get us the teleportation module. This module is pretty cool if I remember correctly. So we'll put this guy right in. And the teleportation unit, if we look at the configuration, right, we can go here and we can see requires block target true or false. And I believe this means that we can, in theory... I have to remember how this works. Let's see. Let's see. Module tweaker, show item switch. Okay. Okay, yeah. So you just have to be able to actually reach it, I guess, which is a little odd. But we can always module tweak, right? And requires block target false. And then we should be able to teleport small distances away. So if we're like stuck somewhere, we should hopefully, yeah, be able to teleport through things for the most part. This will take a good bit of energy to do, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. It's one of those things that I probably wouldn't use too much personally, but it's up there on the coolness factor. Silk touch unit. This one's going to be a little bit interesting, right? So we've got a glow silk cocoon already, and I believe that these, when broken, perhaps, we'll try with fortune. We'll drop glow silk. Oh, we only got one. That's really unfortunate, actually, because we need two, and we also need the silk touch upgrade. Maybe for now we'll wait on that one. All right, we've got the shearing unit. That one's pretty easy. Perhaps. I do have to wonder. Oops, did not mean to destroy that. Perhaps it is time that we teach a little bit of auto crafting for the modules as well. Let me do some auto crafting and some maintenance because we're kind of getting stuck here a little bit. Let me also see if I can get some more glow silk because that's kind of a pain to get, but it's very much worthwhile once you do. So I'll be back in a little bit once I get some of that stuff. All right, so try as I might, I have not had any success with getting enough of the silk that we need in order to proceed. This glow silk is incredibly rare, and I have not found any more of these cocoons anywhere. So we'll have to figure out how to handle that. I may just have to live without silk touch on my mecha tool. For now, I'm just going to keep on using my infinity drill, but still. Anyways, so I think at this point we will want to go ahead and dive into the rest of our fun stuff with our rocketeering. So we're going to need a couple of different components, and in fact, I think we're going to be better off coming over here. So we will need a handful of new components for this last tier ship. So let's see. If we take a look at the tier 4 rocket, right? This guy's going to require a bunch of calorite. And so we already have some compressed calorite. We already have the tanks. We already talked about a lot of that. We're going to need some advanced black hole tanks, and that's going to be its own kind of large requirement. We're going to need more fins. I don't remember if I have any of these. We can just craft those up, it looks like. And then we're going to need another nose cone. And that should also be relatively easy enough. Excellent. So we'll go ahead and get those going, but we're also going to need some means of getting those black hole tanks, because we have not yet made any of those. So let's go ahead and get all this in here, right? So we're going to need you there, and remind me, yep, there and there. And we're still going to need the calorite engine as well. The engine, yeah, not too bad. There we go. So, calorite engine. And then we need 2 of these advanced black hole tanks. These advanced black hole tanks are not too bad. We're just going to need some advanced machine frames, so we're going to go ahead and grab up 2 of those. And then in the meantime, we're going to need a bunch of plastic sheets, which we obviously kind of have that handled, right? That farm is still working very well. We're going to need some Eyes of Ender. Speaking of which, I still haven't made an Enderman farm. Probably should. How are we doing? We're going to need buckets, huh? Yep, I think we're good, though. Let's go and make 2 of these. And these black hole tanks, if you didn't know, they can store exactly 1 fluid, and they can store a lot of it. Sort of like the functional storage mod. That's dangerous. Shouldn't keep that the way I have. That could have been much worse than it was. That could have been so much worse. Goodness. Okay, well, we were lucky there. So we've got our tier 3 rocket that we also need to put back on, because that came off. So there we go. We've got these 2 advanced black hole tanks, and that's going to get us our tier 4 rocket. Sure, that's also, you know, the chapter complete. We'll get to that. Kind of want to focus on going to the last planet on our list here, and that is Glacio. I think this is 4 buckets. I don't remember. I think it is. Nope, it's 3. So we'll go and just dump those in real quick. Like so. And we should be good to go to space. I think our oxygen levels are way more than okay at this point. We've got a handful of oxygen cans. I think we should be just fine. So let's go ahead and head off to space once more. Not our last time, probably. Maybe. Who knows? Kind of hard to say at this point how much more we're going to go to space after this. But I will see you when we are out of our atmosphere. All right, so here we go. It's the big one. We can now leave our main solar system and go over to Proxima Centauri and go into Glacio. Let's go ahead and land directly on the planet. Again, I haven't done any space station stuff. Probably should. And so now we have reached beyond our own solar system. And we can finally show off what Glacio is all about. I'm going to do a little bit of a free fall here just because it is a long ways down. We're getting closer. There we go. And if you couldn't imagine it already, Glacio is cold. So we're going to go ahead and grab that and get rid of you. We can... I didn't actually set up a launch pad for this one, so we will have to temp pad. That's that was my fault. Whoops. Let's go ahead and make a new location for Glacio. As you know, I will be adding these all to a portal at some point. That's definitely on my to-do list. So here we can see Glacio. There's well, there's that. That's not really normal. I don't think there's really any other orbiting bodies or central bodies, but I'm not really sure. And then underground is largely permafrost. Glacial stone deposits are found every now and then. There's a lot of different ores you're going to find as well, which is pretty cool. So you're going to find your vanilla sweet on the surface. So there's going to be basically permafrost variants of copper and iron, and I think even possibly even gold. I don't actually know. See, iron, lapis, no gold, and then there's obviously a lot of ice shard here. Since this is the last planet that we have to go and discover, there's actually not like a whole heck of a lot by means of resources that we need from here. I mostly come here because I think it's a really cool planet in concept, and I think there's a lot of cool stuff to see here. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just fun. I think it's fun to go through and see all the possibilities. Maybe that's just me. So yeah, I don't think the underground is filled with all that much interesting, again, some lapis. Might go through and try to collect all these little ore variants just for the fun of it. I think at this point I'm just missing ice, but that should not be all that difficult. Let's see. And you can see as we get lower, it will actually start to mix in with deep slate. And this is one of the cool things is there's actually a lot of, your vanilla deep slate, or rather your usual spread of deep slate ores down here. So you'll see we've got tin, we've got lead. So yeah, there's a pretty large selection here. I think it's pretty helpful. So at this point, I'm just looking for some of the glacial ice in this permafrost, and then I think we'll have the whole collection done. So yeah, as you can see, it's largely just a glacial wasteland. Not really a lot to see here, to be completely honest with you, which is about what one could expect from a place like this, where everything is frozen over. You know, sort of just how things tend to be. Have not found any of the glacial ice yet. I'm not really too concerned about collecting all the ores. It's not something I need in particular, but you gotta admit some of these textures are pretty cool. It reminds me of the old packed ice stone, whatever that was called. I don't remember, from Railcraft, from the old Railcraft versions. Yeah, you can see we've got still the same selection of big old caves. I mean, like, all the deep slate layers are pretty much completely vanilla, which is, you know, easy enough, nice enough. If you need another place to go mining, this is definitely an alternative, although I would hope by the time you got here in this pack at least, that you had developed some semblance of ore generation. There are a couple of other ways to do it that I didn't do in this pack that I may explore at some point. But yeah, so you can see here that there's just not really all that much to see here, but it's a lot of ice, and I think it's a really cool little setup. In fact, it might be really cool to orbit this planet, because I believe this planet is one of the cooler looking ones as far as the actual exterior of the planet looks from outside its own atmosphere. So yeah, I think I'm going to temp pad back home, since, as you know, I screwed up with the landing pads. And we may go ahead and finish up getting all the teleporters set up in these various different planets. That way we have interplanetary travel set up completely autonomously, I think. Or not autonomously, but in such a way that it is basically free to travel between them, and we won't need our ships as much anymore. So let's go ahead and get some of that done. Again, I'm going to cheat, and we're going to temp pad home. As you guys probably know, temp pad is not my favorite way to get around, just because of the faults that it has. It does seem to be a little bit misbehaved when it comes to possibly stepping in it on accident, or not stepping in it on purpose when you're trying to. So that's why I've been spending so much time with these teleporters. I don't mind the temp pad at all. I have no beef with it as a early and mid-game tool. But now that we've got the technology, I feel like we should definitely use it. So let me see. What are our dialing options at this point? We've got the Moon and Mars. We should probably set up one for the other 3 planets. So we're going to need... we've already got 3 teleporters. That's right, because there was an issue with the crafting recipe previously that has since been fixed. And it looks like I already got everything together for that, to be honest. Was I prepared? No, couldn't be. So yeah, it would just go like that. Okay, cool. Well, that's easy enough. In the meantime, while we wait for our temp pad to recharge, let's go take a look at the quest line and what's going on here. We've got a new quest reward for the mecha tool that I still have to finish customizing. And honestly, we may just go with Fortune. We may just have that replace the Infinity Drill. I'm not really sure. Or it could possibly take place as something else. It's still up in the air. The mecha tool has a lot of potential. I've just never really been a big fan of tools that do too much. So I don't know. Well, let me know what you guys think I should do with that. Because I don't want to abandon it, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't want to just make it and say, cool, we got the quest done, let's keep moving. But I'm also not certain. We also have our new Glacio globe. And so that is now a full suite, a full collection of all of the globes in Beyond Earth and all of the globes that we have available to us. I do wish that there were more planets, of course, because it feels like, you know, the end game content for this mod is a little bit lacking, but, you know, we try. We do what we can with what we have, which is not always a lot, but it's plenty. I think I am just going to collect those in there for now. Not really a whole lot more else that I can plan on doing with those. But that has also opened up for us a new quest chapter entirely, and this is in fact the last one. We also have a couple more quest lines in this one. And you know, there's not really anything that I need black holes for, but... Actually, that's a lie. We desperately need cobblestone. We are actually almost out of cobblestone. Why don't we set that up real quick while we wait for our... In the in-between times of waiting for our temp to charge. I always forget about this guy. I should make it more convenient. So you can probably tell that we are almost out of cobblestone, and that's a problem because I don't have a way to make more cobblestone automatically, which is a really dumb problem to have at this stage. It's just purely ridiculous. So why don't we set up a cobble generator, or it's a factory, I believe. Material stonework factory. Why don't we set up one of these guys, which I'll show you how that will work. And why don't we use a black hole controller and some of the... do we need the... Yeah, a unit would be fine. Black hole unit... Let's make, like, probably 3 of these, I think, is all we would need, right? So, let's go ahead and grab those 3. Actually, grab me a 4th one while you're at it. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and get these other locations set up. It's pretty fun now that we actually have some of this stuff going. So let's do, let me think. So we have, let's confirm, right? We have... the moon and Mars, so we need probably the Venus biodome would probably be a good one to start with. I just made a critical error, and I hope that this does not become a problem. I forgot to bring power with me. We'll see if this is a problem. We'll see. I think we're storing power in our teleporter right now, which is just enough. And so now we can make a factory to Venus. And what we'll probably need to do is just go to one of these others for a moment. Will this one work? Yeah, these are all really, really weird. The way that they work, I'm still not sure that I fully understand. Let's go ahead and grab at Flux Provider. Let's grab 3 of these. And I think the way that this works is like factory interplanetary. So if you have multiples, this is where I get confused, right? So if we set you to interplanetary, it's a little bit confusing at this point, right? So if we do... No, see, I think it just needs to be factory to moon. Like so. Factory to Mars dialing. Mars may be offline. We will have to see. But Venus will be online at some point. Venus would probably be, yeah, like an orangey. But there's not really... Maybe Mars should be brown. Anyways, this is clearly going to take me a minute because they are just so weird. The way that these work are a little bit strange. So give me a few to sort this all out, because clearly it's not perfect, and I'll be back. So, okay, once again, we're in a waiting period, so I figured let's go ahead and pick up on the material. Oh, I needed that, actually. That's okay. Let's go ahead and pick up on the black hole controller. We're going to need one of these guys, and I think that should be all we don't know how to craft. So we'll do one of these. Like so. And then we're also going to do, for the Supreme Black Hole units, we're going to need a bunch of chests. So let's go ahead and grab like 10 of these. And we're going to need some Eyes of Ender. I need 5 of those, right? So, the Supreme Black Hole units are pretty cool. Did I miscalculate? I may have miscalculated. That's fine. It's easy enough. There we go. So, I think I've already kind of shown this off before with storage drawers, but let's say, right, maybe not that. Let's grab the cobblestone that we have. This is a puny amount, right? But let's say I've got that, right? And I shift right click to control things. We can hide and show. I can request and void extra items or not void. I can display amounts as stacks. I can display them as compact stacks. I think that's actually just a matter of like, do you want it to show 500 or do you want to say like, you know, what is that, 8 stacks? So I'm not 100% sure. Again, show and hide display completely up to you. So you can just treat them a lot like functional storage drawers or functional storage drawers or just normal storage drawers. You get the point. Right. So, okay, my question, the thing that I don't remember is if there's a way to lock these. I think that is just the way right there. So what we're going to do, right, if we take a look at the Material Stoneworks Factory, the Material Stonework Factory here, which is not too terribly expensive, is going to be able to produce a handful of different things. So as we get ours configured, it will be able to produce for us stone. It will be able to produce for us apparently cracked nether bricks if we started. But we want to look at things that start with cobblestone because we're going to just start off with cobblestone to be simple. So we will be able to make things such as you know, stone tiles, stone bricks, all these different variants of things that you can either smelt with stone or craft with stone. So this is the cool part, right? We start off with cobblestone, and then if we just do step 1, furnace, and then skip the other 3 steps, then we're going to end up with stone. But if we smelt it again, we have cobblestone, stone, and then smooth stone. If we do cobblestone to stone, and then oak planks means craft it in a 2x2, that's going to get you stone bricks. And then if we craft it in a 2x2 and then smelt it, we'll get cracked stone bricks. But if we craft it in a 2x2 and then do that again, we'll get the stone tiles. If we smelt it and go straight to a 3x3, then we can do heavy stone bricks. If we do 3x3 and then smelt it, we can do heavy cracked stone bricks. If we do a pickaxe, we can get gravel. If we smelt said gravel, we can get slag. Smelt said slag, we can get rock wool. I think you get it. I hope you get it. This to me is actually pretty cool, right? Because for me, I think my ideal cycle, my ideal term would probably be, because I think slag's a really fun texture as a block. So I think I'd probably want to do cobblestone and then save some of that cobblestone, like round robin it, right? And we'll sort that out. So some cobblestone, some gravel, and then some into slag. And then I think we'll just probably keep it there because I don't need anything else. So that's 3 materials that we're going to want to be able to keep, right? So that's cobblestone, gravel, and slag. So let's grab those. Because you can see we're always low on most of these things. Slag is the only one. Slag is actually the reason why we're low on gravel, because I like how the slag texture looks a lot. I think it's a very nice texture. So if I did this correctly, that should mean that if I right-click these, they're only going to grab the one thing. Now, if I break you and replace you, do you remember this? Is this information stored in any way? It's not, and that scares me a little bit, because I don't know that you're going to know how to do this. But that's okay. The biggest thing is we're going to want you to just have a thing to hold on to, really. And when you break these, they actually keep their inventory, so that's pretty fun. And the biggest thing about this is we can now, instead of having 3 blocks that all need controlling, we can just put them all in this one black hole controller. And you may be wondering to yourself, well, why? Well, let's get a pretty pipe network to just kind of show off why. Well, let's grab our terminal. Let's grab this guy. And for fun, we've got the providers anyway. Let's just do a pipe pressurizer really quickly. If you remember the setup, then I appreciate you for watching for as long as you have, because this has been put away for a minute now. But if I open this up, you're going to see now that my slag, my cobblestone, and my gravel are all available through the one interface, through this one pipe. And if I requested, 20 of that cobblestone, it's just going to come right through. And if I put it all back, it's just going to go right back. So what we can do is we can use this one block to hold 16 black hole units of varying tiers. I chose Supreme because it was a quest reward, and also because I want to have an abundance of these items, up to 2 to the 64, which is, as you can see, 2,147,000,000. Oh, sorry, 2,147,000,000. No, it's 2 billion. Sorry, I'm very bad at my numbers. I don't know why I thought it was way higher than that. Guess that's just proof that 64-bit will someday, or 2 to the 64 will someday not to be enough. I think it's 2 to the 64. Honestly, after base like 20, I tend to lose track. So anyways, this is cool. And then if I silk touch this, we're going to get all of our individual components back with all of their differing items, which is also equally pretty interesting and pretty cool. So the last component here that we're going to need is our material stoneworks factory. This guy here is pretty cool, as you've seen so far. We're going to need some pink slime, which I think is just very simple. We're just going to need a glass pane. And then we're going to need a bunch of stuff that I know how to make, so I'm actually a little surprised that it doesn't. And then that should go. So we're going to let that go on and do its thing. In the meantime, I've got more portals to set up, so I will be back. All right, so now if we get ourselves a material stonework factory just like so, we can start to have some fun with this. So let's go ahead and start with just a simple setup and move from there, right? Because it's going to get more and more complicated. We're going to need lava, and we're going to need water. And something that I realized is that we actually haven't really had any use for an infinite lava supply yet, which I think is actually pretty cool. That is doable in this pack. I don't know if you knew that. It's something that a lot of people don't really realize is there and is not very useful. But Create allows you to pull infinite lava. And there's really only one thing that's useful for, and that's for the boilers at this point, or just whatever the heck you can think of using all that lava for. Obviously, completely up to your own discretion. But yeah, the Create pumps will absolutely pull an infinite lava source from a large enough lava pool. And that can be potentially useful depending on who you are. I, however, am just going to quickly run over here and grab some lava. And just like that, we should be good to go. Now, the reason we need all this water and lava, not all, but a source of water and lava, is, of course, we need to actually get the stone from somewhere. So I'm trying to figure out where we might want to set this up, and I have a thought. We have our network controller and stuff set up over here, so it might be pretty fun to set it up along this wall, just because it would be pretty compact. So we will need a couple of things. We are going to need power, which is actually not that big of a deal, right? Because we can just take you, put you here, and then put the stonework factory there. Perfect. We can do water and lava, like so. And you're going to see that it's going to start to do some stuff. So we will do cobblestone. And cobblestone's going to go in, and it's going to get crushed, and then it's going to get smelted. And then I want nothing to happen from there. And you can see we're already producing slag. And if we grab from our industrial foregoing selection of things, I think speed will help here. You can see that's actually pretty fast. And so we're going to go between all the processing stages. Now, there is a slight problem here, and that is the fact that, we're going to have to wait for these to fill up one at a time before it'll go around to the next resource. But I think overall, that's not really the worst thing in the world. What we can do... Inventory generator, that's weird. what we can do is we can just disable all of these. We can put our, let's see, black hole controller here. We can put our, let's see, cobblestone and then slag right there like so. And you can actually see that the Whaler tooltip at the top tells you what inventory access it has. And so now we can go through and say, you know, for this generated inventory items, let's go and push those as soon as they come through. And so that means that right now we're just going to be producing cobblestone, and that's it. And that's not very fast. It could definitely be faster. We could absolutely speed this up if we wanted to. But what will happen over time is we will produce enough cobblestone that we're not going to need it anymore. And this is not very fast, and I know that a lot of people are going to say you should use a drawer with a downgrade on it, you should do this, you should do that. I know that there are alternatives, right? I'm not super duper concerned about that. But what I'm mostly concerned about is just having something that idly is set up to run and do its thing, because that's something that I find pretty important. So now we're going to want to do a couple of things. We're going to want an external storage. We're going to need that, and we're actually just going to need some refined stuff overall. Mostly just cable, but a cover would be good. Probably need a couple of those. And in fact, if we get... okay. I wanted to use an entangled block, but I'm a little afraid to do that. So what I may do is the following. I may move you down below and change all these to... push below, and we'll do the same for you, and the same for you. Oh, wrong config. So that's going to start to push everything down that it can. So we'll have cobblestone, gravel, and slag, and that's going to just do its thing. The cobblestone is... Why is the cobblestone not? And another issue is these are all set up to void items, and that's actually going to be a problem. So we will configure these to not do that. Just with a shift right click with 2 empty hands. Like so. And that's going to help us out significantly as well. Also, to all the mod developers out there, can we not make you have to have your offhand empty as well? I've never understood that. It's actually less code to do that. Anyway, so the inventory generator is going to push. You're going to push and you're going to push. Why have you... Okay, we may just do nothing here and then pick and then smelt. Might need some time with this. This was just working. This is unprecedented. It seems to want to keep a supply of 64. Because now that this is filled with 64, it's now going after the slag. Which is very interesting. Not in a bad way. I'm actually a huge fan of that. I just don't know what has possessed it to do that. But that's a very nice mechanic. I was ready to explain how we have not optimized this, but that I didn't really care. But I kind of don't have to anymore. So we're going to set this to 8192. That's a higher priority than I've set anywhere, because I really want this to be highly prioritized amongst all the other things in my network. We'll just cover this up like so. You guys know how I like to keep things nice and covered. I gotta say that it kind of fits with the lab theme anyway, so I'm not too bothered by that. And so now if we look at cobblestone, you're going to see we have 64. If I grab slag and just put all this back in, it should go into our drawer, into this guy, right? I'm not really sure what it's going to do now. It seems as though the limit is, in fact, just 64. So I guess this means we'll always have a couple of stacks of buffer, which is a little bit interesting. I've got to say, again, this is not really the mechanic that I was expecting it to have. This was not yeah, this was not how I expected this to work at all. I like this better, I think, but I do kind of wish that my caps lock wasn't on. I do kind of wish that this would be a little more pushy. It might actually be a place where XNet would be able to help us perhaps Perhaps. I might fiddle with that on accident a little bit more. Anyways, I have more planets to go hook up, so I'm gonna go do that. And you know what? I'm gonna skip Mercury. Mercury didn't really have anything. Wasn't a very interesting planet, in my opinion. So now if we dial this... Why aren't you working? You were just set up to work. Weird. I told everything to chunk load too, so I'm not so sure what's going on. But yeah, so at this point, I'm not really sure if we can do anything about getting more gravel or any of these other components to kind of stick around. I don't know what happens when this fills up either, so let's see. So I guess we'll have a 2-stack buffer. I mean, that's not too bad. But again, I kind of defeats the purpose of the black hole storage, so I'm not so sure that that's... I don't know that that's ideal. What we may end up having to do then is a little simpler. Let's go ahead and take all of these and let's make an importer. Let's just grab our importer, I should say. And we can just import directly. And that's just going to kind of siphon on in for now. So we still have to figure out where to put the black hole storage. I'm kind of not offended by just putting it right over here on the other side. Like so. And then we'll just put these in here. Like so. We'll just put our external storage back there with our priority of 8192. And of course we will cover everything up because I have extreme OCD about cleanliness and organization. So that should help, right? Because at this point we're going to have a lot of cobblestone coming in. And that's just going to keep us stocked up on cobblestone. This will just fill up over time. And once this fills up and once we have 1 billion cobblestone, and I'm not kidding, it's a lot, 2 billion in fact. Once we have 2 billion cobblestone, then we should be able to, in fact, help ourselves out here and boost our other materials like gravel and like slag at some point as well. So anyways, I think we've done quite a bit for this episode. I do apologize. It's been a little bit all over the place. That has been a very good definition for me, myself, and I as well. I have been all over the place in the last little while. And so I do appreciate your patience. I do apologize for the kind of shifty video quality for me at least. But in the next episode, we have a new chapter to check out. Not only do we have some quest rewards that are relatively meaningless at this point, but we also have the high flux generation chapter. So let's dive in. Just an addendum to how long this week, the last 2 weeks have been. This was completely off. I don't really know why, but we have infinite lava, and I'm just a big dumb. I even went all the way to the nether for it. Like, we've spent so much time working here, and I keep on forgetting about all the things that I've done. I also noticed that the efficiency upgrade makes this a significant faster process, and so we are going to go for that. If you wanted to skip to the last step first, apparently the processing upgrade will help it skip steps. I'm personally good with it going in this order. So you can see we're already bringing up a good bit of cobblestone at this stage. Anyways, sorry for the addendum. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I'll see you very soon. Take care.